We are back talking about the James Bond films. As you know, I'm reviewing all of the official Bond films, all 24 of them, leading up to Bond 25, No Time to Die, in November. Hopefully November. We have gone through 5 different eras of Bond now. We have covered all the movies through the first 5 actors. We now move into the next phase, the next era of Bond, the Daniel Craig era. He follows up Pierce Brosnan, who went out on a low note, to say the least. You know that from my Die Another Day roast. Daniel Craig, well, there was a lot to be said about him when he was first announced as Bond, but he got his first Bond movie in 2006, and that was Casino Royale. Casino Royale is a reboot of the Bond series and showcases a more inexperienced, more vulnerable, relentless, cold-blooded killing machine that is James Bond in the early days of his career in his first assignment for MI6, which is to enter a high-stakes poker game at the Casino Royale in Montenegro in order to bankrupt Le Chiffre, a banker to the world's terrorists. Bond must win that poker game so Le Chiffre is no longer able to fund money to terrorists to carry out their attacks. Now, as you know, I'm a huge Bond fan. There's definitely a plethora of massive Bond fans out there, so I had the pleasure of sitting down with another Bond fan to help me review Casino Royale. He wanted to jump on a Bond review. I said, hey, well, why don't we talk about Casino Royale? We both have basically the same opinion on Casino Royale, so his name is also Alex. He's over at the channel Ultra HD Geek. I will leave his channel link in the description below. Check out his videos. He does a great job on his videos, talks a lot about 4K Ultra Blu-rays and all that, reviews a lot of those. He's my go-to source. So he's going to join me. I'm going to loop him in through Skype. We're going to talk some Casino Royale, some Daniel Craig, some of our favorite scenes from Casino Royale, and some other Bond stuff, but mostly focusing on Casino Royale. So let's loop him in, let's talk some Casino Royale, and enjoy the review. So I am joined here on this review for Casino Royale by Alex over at Ultra HD Geek. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good, yeah. He's a great dude. He's got a great channel. He reviews a lot of 4Ks. His channel is actually the channel I go to when I'm about to buy a 4K to see if it's actually worth it, because I know some of them aren't. But he's like my go-to source. He wanted to join me on a Bond review. I got him on Casino Royale, so we're gonna talk some Casino Royale here. What are your just overall thoughts on Casino Royale itself?
I actually love the movie.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not gonna even lie. I think out of the 4, because I can't include the new one, we haven't seen it. So out of the 4 that came out, I think this is the most grounded one. Like, it was just the best storyline. I mean, I love Skyfall. Don't get me wrong with that. I'm a big Skyfall fan.
I have them flip-flopped.
Yeah, but I'm more Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I think it's more gritty and it's a more focus on Bond. That's the thing I like about Casino Royale.
I could totally understand that, because it's a 1-2 punch for me with both Skyfall and Casino Royale. They're just flip flop for me. I think Skyfall is the best, and then Casino Royale is my number 2. But I love Casino Royale too. I love how they strip away some of the Bond elements, but they keep the core of the character. Like, there's no Moneypenny, there's no Q. It's a rebooted Bond. Like, this is a more grounded, inexperienced, vulnerable Bond. He's a cold-blooded assassin. He'll literally sleep with a girl just to get information and then leave her the second he gets the information, as we see in this movie. And it's almost like he knows that, like, killing people is bad and, like, it's not the right thing he should be doing, even though he does it all the time. And you can definitely tell that he has a lot of regret in this movie. So that's what I love about Bond in this movie. The story itself is great. I mean, Le Chiffre's a great villain. The fact that Bond has to stop him from funding terrorists, like he's the banker to the terrorists, that's great. This is a perfect 3-act movie for me. Action movie in the first half, the high stakes casino game in the second act, and then it just turns into a tragic love story in the third act. Like, it's perfect. This is like the one movie where I buy that Bond could fall in love. I didn't really buy it in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Spectre, I thought it was
I don't like Honor Majesty's Secret Service. Spectre, I thought it was done okay, mostly because I think Lea Seydoux is a good actress, so I think they kind of pulled it off. She had good chemistry with Craig.
I don't want to. I don't. Well, we're not talking about that movie, but I do want to say is I felt like Inspector was forced. Like they had to force that character down.
It was a lot more forced than it was in Casino Royale. I could actually it felt like a natural progression in this movie rather than Spectre. And this one's like he was actually in love. Like they had so much good chemistry. They spent way more time together in this movie than Bond and Madeline did in Spectre. And
the thing with Eva and with Vesper, she saw through his crap, whereas other women don't, right? Because they just see the suave and the charm of Bond, but not Vesper. And I think that's why he fell in love with her, because he's like, wow, she's more on my level. Like she understands me for who I am. And he opened up to her until, the betrayal and everything. But again, did she really betray him? And that's the thing.
That's what I love. Yeah. That whole third act, like where, I mean, the end of the second act where Bond gets tortured by Le Chiffre. I mean, Bond cleans him out in that poker game.
Oh yeah.
And Le Chiffre loses all his money, so now he's bankrupt. He can't fund the terrorists. And he owes these other people money too. I love it when Bond's on the phone with M at the end of the movie, and she says she made a deal to spare your life in exchange for the money. Yes, like towards the end, like that whole shootout in like the Venice house that's like sinking when Bond shoots the air tank. You think that she's kind of bad, but like you understand why she's doing it. It's not necessarily her being a double agent. It's not necessarily her betraying Bond. It's her doing what she had to do to stay alive, even though she knew she was going to go to her death.
Well, yeah, and then also we got to see it from her perspective. Her character was being used by her boyfriend, taking information.
Exactly.
So, like, but we didn't notice that until Quantum of Solace, towards the ending of Quantum. Right. But you kind of, once you see those two movies together, you kind of understand where Vesper's mindset was. She fell in love with Bond, and they told her, we're going to kill Bond if you don't give us that $150 million. I mean, I think it was $150 million. I think it was that much money.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was that high, $150 million. And she did. She basically was like, you know what? I'm going to have to betray him so he doesn't die. And Mr. White even said it in the beginning of Quantum when they had him tied up to the IV, when Bond had that awesome car chasing him in the beginning. He was like, she gave him, I mean, no, it wasn't there. It was in Inspector when he was dying, and he said, Vesper really loved you. He told you straight up, like, she actually loved you, and he didn't care. I mean, he was already done. He was just like, no.
It just shows how cold-blooded Bond is in this run of movies, and that kind of brings me to Daniel Craig's portrayal as Bond. But before we get into that, how old were you when this movie came out? Because I was a fairly youngling when this movie came out. Were you against the casting of Daniel Craig? Were you for it? And then has your reputation of Craig changed over time if you didn't like him? Did this movie sell you on his portrayal? What was your experience with that whole internet craze where Daniel Craig is not Bond?
All right, so for me, so I'm 37 now. So when the movie came out, I was in 06. So I was 23 when this movie came out.
Okay.
So I was against it because I'm a very big Pierce Brosnan fan, and I'm not. And I understand people don't like Pierce Brosnan, because I know I talked to a lot of other people and they don't like him because they felt like he was. But what people don't understand is each Bond, if you're a real true Bond fan, you have to understand one element of all these Bonds. They all had different writers. They all have different writers. They all have different acting schemes, like acting, the way they act, the way they look.
Yep.
So, of course,
you hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, and then one more thing I could say is, and what generation you're from. I can't say Sean Connery's the best one. When I see Sean Connery movies, I fall asleep, and I can't, and then that's no knock on Sean Connery, because I like Goldfinger, I like Russia with Love, I like Diamonds Are Forever, I like Dr. No, but honestly, I can't say that because I didn't live through those times when he was Bond.
Exactly.
Pierce Brosnan, I did. I lived through GoldenEye. I lived through The World Is Not Enough, Tomorrow Never Dies, and The Day, Die Another Day. Those were my movies because I saw Pierce Brosnan come to the role as Bond.
Yep, that was exactly. Sorry to cut you off. That was,
no, I'm good.
That was exactly me too, because I was 12 when Casino Royale came out. So I was born in '94. Yeah, I was born in '94. Pierce Brosnan was the Bond I had growing up. Like, he was everywhere. Like if you didn't have that GoldenEye game for Nintendo 64, like, you weren't cool. Like, that's how I knew who Brosnan was. Like, we always played that game. We had The World's Not Enough on VHS. Like, I remember my brother coming home, like, when he and some friends went to go see Die Another Day in the theater. Like, it was awesome. And yeah, no, it's not really that great. But I mean, like, so Pierce Brosnan will always hold a special place in my heart for me, as well as Daniel Craig, because the Daniel Craig ones are the first ones I saw in theaters. So Casino Royale is the first Bond film I saw in theaters. Now, with that whole thing with the whole controversy with the casting of Daniel Craig, I was right there with you. I was against it. I think almost everybody was against it because everybody just looked at him. Like, I think he had longer hair at the press conference. Like, he looked a little rugged.
Yeah, he had the blonde, like a blondish, like an orangey hair. But again, what we have to understand is that, first of all, he was not even shooting the movie. He was just coming into a press conference, so we didn't know what he was looking. And I think, is this the role that he did? I know he did Layer Cake. I don't remember when that came out. Was it after Tomb Raider? Because I know he was in Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
the Cradle of Life.
You know, he was in the first one. That was 2001, I think. 2001.
Because I was thinking what movie he was in before the Bond role. Because he had to be in a movie before.
I think it was Layer Cake. Because Layer Cake was 2004, and a lot of people actually credit Layer Cake.
That's a good movie.
Role that it is great. They credit it as the movie that got him Bond, because I guess Barbara Broccoli like watched that and she loved his acting chops. She thought that he could encapsulate like what Bond is, like that cold-blooded assassin who just doesn't give a shit about his job, but also can charm a girl. So I think the pre-assumption and the preconceived notion that a lot of people made was that, like, this guy hasn't filmed the movie yet, but he sucks because he's blonde and he's got blue eyes. I know a lot of people hated the trailers. Like, my entire family, like my cousins are big movie fans too. I remember we would talk countless hours about how much the trailers for Casino Royale suck. Like, we're like, oh my God, these trailers are horrible. This movie's going to be horrible. He's going to be a terrible Bond. He's only going to get one movie, which I think a lot of people expected him to. Yeah. And then literally the opening weekend, I remember I was still at like that phase. Like, even in the movie theater, I was like, this probably isn't going to be that good and he's going to suck. I was so surprised that this movie was sold out. So I was so upset that it sold out. And then when I walked out of the movie, I was so upset that Happy Feet beat it out at the box office.
Oh,
I was like, because I walked out of this movie, I was like, that was good. He is here to stay. So
yeah,
that's kind of my experience with this whole thing.
And the thing that's crazy is, I remember one thing that annoyed me was that he was the first Bond. I think he's the first Bond. I got to look up the information, but he was the first Bond to drive in the American side of the Aston Martin.
I think he was too.
Yeah, he never drove. Right. Yeah, I don't think he drove on the left-hand side like every Bond does. So I remember reading that before I went to the theater. I'm going, how the hell can you be Bond and you can't even drive an Aston Martin on the other side of the freaking wheel? Well, everybody can drive on the thing. So I was laughing. But let me just tell you, look, honestly, what sold me as Bond sitting down in that theater in 2006 was when it was just that opening sequence in black and white, which I still to this day, I even said it when I did the 4K review of Casino Royale. This movie should have been released in black and white. Hands down.
Really? Wow. I don't think I've ever heard that take before.
Yeah, I always said it. Casino Royale should have been given to me in black and white because it looks phenomenal in black and white. And I'm a big black and white fan. So when I saw Logan, I was amazed with Logan. I love Mad Max Road Fury in black and white. Like, I just love black and white films. So I was like, when I saw that opening sequence, and I went, wow, they really went there in black and white. And they had the quirky camera angles of the guy going up the elevator, and then Bond sitting in the corner all stealthy. And then he turns around with the gun on him. And then, and him and the guys talking back and forth, talking about their first kill. And little did we know, the first kill was actually that guy. I was like, this is awesome.
Yep.
I was like, he
Yep.
became a 007 in front of your eyes. In front of
Exactly.
everybody's eyes.
For me, as much as I love that scene, I don't think that was the scene that sold me, because for me that was kind of like the Joker bank robbery scene in The Dark Knight, where it's like that's a little like tidbit as to what this character could be. It's not a full blown introduction. For me, the full blown introduction is that awesome parkour chase that is amongst one of the greatest action sequences ever filmed. It's like top 3 action sequences, and like right then and there, I remember. So I saw this twice. Saw it once with my mom and my brother, and then we literally had to convince those same cousins I was talking about before to go see it on Thanksgiving. I remember when that sequence came on in the theater, I looked over at my cousin who's my age, and he just gives me a like, fuck yes, this is what we need.
No, I mean, but that sequence still holds up. Like, even when you're watching it in 4K.
Good. Yeah. Just the practicality of it. Like, the practicality, the stunts. Like, the thing I love about that sequence, too, is, like, it's a parkour chase. Bond's not landing everything flat-footed.
Yeah. He's hitting the pavement. I totally agree.
I feel my problem with, like, the other Bond actors is I feel like if that was, like, Pierce, as much as I love Pierce Brosnan, if that was Pierce Brosnan, if that was Roger Moore, like, they would have landed that flat-footed. Like, this is the time where we have to make Bond more realistic, and that scene just proved that to me. Even in the theater, even my 12-year-old self was just amazed by that sequence.
Or I mean, if we're gonna go Pierce Brosnan and Roger Moore, they would have had gadgets to catch the guy. So like, he would have had a remote control watch that controlled a drone and shot the guy with something. But like, even like, I remember sitting in the theater and everyone laughed when the guy went through the door, the top, and he busted through the sheetrock. To this day I still laugh because it's so true.
It's such a great little moment.
Yeah, and then when he slid through the floor and caught the guy jumps all that, and then he walks into I think is the excavator, and he breaks the hydraulics, and then he just starts going down while the guy's just bouncing back and forth. Like, it's just so. It shows you like his awareness and of his surroundings. Like, he knows where. Exactly. So, and the thing with also the good thing is with Daniel Craig. I mean, I grew to like him. It took me to Skyfall. I mean, yes, I love Casino Royale. I hated Quantum of Solace. I thought it was just a stupid story.
Yeah,
did not need to be there. Yeah. And then Skyfall just gave me this like whirlwind of, okay, this is his own. This now is Bond. Like, he made this character his now. And I like that. And the thing I like about Skyfall and Sam Mendes did that I said in the review also was we got it's like it was stages, like a graphic novel. Casino Royale was more gritty. He got his license to kill. So he's like a kid. Like, yeah, let's do this. I can kill whoever the hell I fucking want.
Way of putting it.
Yeah. And then, a love story. Tragedy hits. Now Quantum of Solace, he's repairing that armor that he had repaired off by Vesper. And then you see, okay, now we got the organizational pull in. Like, the bad guys, they're starting to, give you a little light of these bad guys. And I'm like, all right, cool. What can Daniel Craig give me now on the third movie? Because the second one sucked and the first one was so good. Can he now make the third time as a charm? And it did. They brought in Moneypenny. I was like, holy crap, we got Moneypenny. Then they brought in Q. I was like, oh, hell yeah, we got a young freaking Q.
I love Ben Whishaw.
Yeah, and then the first Bond movie that I cried at the end, I teared. When, I don't know, spoiler alert, I don't know if we're doing that, we're doing it here. But
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can spoil it.
When they killed Judi Dench at the end of the movie, let me just tell you, I looked at my wife, and I was like, no, they did not. And I started tearing, and she started laughing, because I loved Judi Dench.
Oh, she's great. I'm glad that she was a holdover from the Brosnan era, because like towards like in the Brosnan era, like there was kind of like that hostility between her and Bond, because she was like, you're a sexist, misogynistic like dinosaur. You belong like in the Cold War, and they kind of always had like that hostility and that banter that they didn't like each other, but they still had mutual respect for each other.
Yes.
Like in the Brosnan era, but like I feel like in Casino Royale, like M promoted Bond. She probably regrets it. She hates what the hell he's doing, but there's still that mutual respect there, and her and Daniel Craig like bouncing off of each other is just great. Like Daniel Craig giving it right back to her giving it to Daniel Craig, and then her having the faith to put her trust in Bond, even when he's not making probably the best decisions, killing people when he's not supposed to. Like, that just says a lot about M as a character and Judi Dench's portrayal as M as well. Like, it's something I've always loved about M, and I was so happy that she was a holdover from the Brosnan era. I'm glad they did not recast M in this movie.
Yeah, but the thing is like, and that's the thing. Like, what people got to understand too. When M was in the Bronson, when the Bronson era, the 4 movies, she was a bitch. It's not like she was.
Oh yeah, she was a total bitch.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the Daniel Craig era, she became his mom. Like, you could see it. Like, she was the bitch, but it wasn't like they didn't give you that bitch figure. They gave you that whole mother feeling.
Yeah, I think they even though it's not as like heavy-handed in this as it is in like Skyfall, I think that's another aspect of the relationship that's hinted at here, especially since like M is probably the only woman like in this franchise that Bond doesn't view in a sexual context, you know? So like it's not like, oh, like, hey, I'm gonna go bang like 80-year-old Judi Dench or something. Like, no, like
right.
He understands that like she, even though she's a bitch to him, she derides him, she doesn't agree with his decisions, she has mutual respect for him, she puts her trust in him, and he has that trust in her. And you can tell that there's a mother-son dynamic there between her and Craig. I love it.
Yeah, and it was so amazing, and you saw it in the movie. Like, the dude died, and the minute he saw MI6 get blown up, he's like, nah, I gotta go back. Like, I gotta go see if she's okay. And like, he did all this for her. Like, he didn't go back because of like, he's like, fuck that. Like, you pull the trigger. I want to know why. Like, you pull the damn trigger. And she told him, I pulled the trigger because it had to be done. And I was like, this is an awesome scene in her apartment because it throws it back to Casino Royale when he crashed into her house again. And she goes, Bond, do not come into, don't do this again. And he's just like, how the hell does he get my passwords? And it's like
I really wish that there was a reference to that in Skyfall. That would have been awesome because that scene where he breaks into her house in Casino Royale is just hilarious. Like, she's like, how the hell do you know where I live? Like,
yeah, and then he breaks into her password, and then in Skyfall he does the same thing. He's waiting for her in her apartment when she comes in, and she goes, you know, they have that awesome exchange between the two, and I like that. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, I know we're talking about Casino Royale and stuff, and I know we're bringing in other movies, and I know that you're doing the other series too. But that's the thing, though, that with these with this one Daniel Craig got I'm like tongue tied here. The thing that Daniel Craig got over the other Bonds is that he has the best writers and they gave him the best storyline. And that's the thing that for me, it hurts because it's like, damn, you had Roger Moore, which Roger Moore was a great Bond too. Imagine what he could have done with storylines like this, or Pierce Brosnan. And let me just tell everybody here, Daniel Craig got lucky because they fired Pierce Brosnan. So don't think that he just got the role. They fired Pierce Brosnan to do, because he was going to do Casino Royale. It's just they fired him for it. And he came out, I think, this week. He talked about it. He actually opened up about it. Yeah. He said that he was doing Sunset Boulevard, that movie. He was the criminal with Salma Hayek.
Oh, After the Sunset?
Yes, he was doing that movie, and he said that he was waiting for his agent to get the phone call from them. And when he got the phone call, they said, we don't want you no more, from Barbara Broccoli and the other ones. And he was like, what do you mean? And what people don't understand either, when it was the 50-year anniversary of Bond, this is where this shit gets fucked up. And they had the Oscars. None of them came. Sean Connery never got on stage. Pierce Brosnan, because they fired him, he said, fuck you, I'm not going on stage. George LeBiz, I don't even think went on stage. The only one that went was the only one who went was Roger Moore, I believe. He's the only one that showed up.
He was.
So that tells you they don't like Pierce Brosnan will talk about it now because he's like in his 80s or whatever he's up to, 90, whatever he's up to. He'll talk about it, but he will not even look like it doesn't look like he cares for the franchise like Sean Connery. Like they just don't like. And I understand from Pierce Brosnan because they did do him dirty.
Yeah.
Like that's a little dirty. So that I understand. And I'm like, you know what? If that's how you feel, you don't want to do nothing with the franchise, then you know what?
Yeah.
More power to you, but you know what? Bond did give you the stardom. I mean, you were big anyway, but that just catapulted you.
Exactly.
But it's kind of messed up. But in terms of Casino Royale, I love Lashif. Great villain.
Great.
He needed to be in a second. He should have been in the sequel. I always say he should have been in Quantum.
Yeah.
They killed him too fast.
I do love how Bond doesn't kill him well. I love how it's Mr. White. I think it's no, it's not the first movie where Bond doesn't kill the villain because he doesn't kill Rosa Clement from Russia with Love. But I think it is the first one in a while where he doesn't kill the main villain.
Right.
And it just added that extra dynamic. So it's like, well, you kill him at the end of the second act. So what's going to happen in the third act? And it just added to more of Vesper's character with her possibly being a double agent, possibly betraying Bond. But I think there's kind of a gray area with that whole thing. For me, yeah, LaChiffre's great. The bleeding eye is one of the best deformities.
Yeah.
The Bond villains are known for their deformities. I mean, except the guy in Quantum because he had nothing. He just stabbed himself in the foot with an axe. Like he just has that look to him where it's like if you strike him, you see him, you immediately get scared. Like you immediately want to run away from the guy. You don't even want to talk to the guy. You start talking to him, you feel like he's gonna punch you. That's how I feel with Shifra. Like he might be like a little weasel because he's trying to get all his money back. He doesn't even do the terrorist attack. He has other people, like he funds terrorists, but like this dude is fucking scary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to cross this guy in public.
You know what's crazy too? I mean, we didn't even bring it up. Another good scene from Casino Royale was the plane scene when they're driving in the airport.
Yeah.
That's another phenomenal action sequence.
Oh yeah, that's an underrated action sequence in this. And I love how it kind of feels like a Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark type thing with like Bond fighting the terrorists in the truck, like Bond hanging on the side of the truck. Like it has a lot of influences and it is inspired by a lot of previous work, which is what the Bond franchise is known to do. But they do it in a way that feels fresh and it feels like it's its own thing. That sequence is so underrated. It's one of the sequences in the movie that goes so untalked about. The filming of it, like just how it's framed and all that. Like the music is just great.
The music is phenomenal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, David Arnold's score. Like I've always thought David Arnold was so underrated. I always thought his best scores were Casino Royale and Quantum. But like that airport scene is just so intense. Even before all of that begins with like the chase on like the on the runway with Bond chasing the terrorists. Like even before that, when he's following Demetrios to the airport, and then Demetrios pulls the knife on him, and Bond like gets the code like ellipsis. Like even all of that is just intense. Like this movie proves to you that you can have tense moments and a lot of tension, a lot of suspense, without like anybody getting shot or blown up. And you don't have to. It proved that you don't have to go the route of action to make something feel in the moment, real, intense. This airport sequence just does that so beautifully and perfectly. It's one of the most underrated action scenes in a Bond film.
Yeah, I mean that was also awesome too. The thing that what people don't understand also about Bond is, I believe this is the first movie out of the whole 27 films that it does not play Bond's theme song at all
until the end.
When he becomes Bond. But nothing he does is no penny, like you don't get none of that. And even in the beginning, when he shoots and you see the barrel comes in, which I still think is amazing. He picks up the gun, he shoots.
Yeah, that was a great way to integrate the gun barrel.
Yeah, and you get the Chris Cornell song, which I still think is a nice song. It's a really cool song, catchy song.
I love that song.
Yeah,
I love that.
The weakest one out of all four of them is Quantum of Solace. That is so horrible.
Oh yeah, I hate that one.
That is really bad. I mean, the best one is Skyfall. with Adele. I mean, hands down. But yeah, that is a great opening sequence. And then another one is the car chase scene when he gets Vesper and he's like, "Oh, they took her," and he gets into the Aston Martin. I'm like, "Hell yeah!"
Does the barrel roll?
Yeah, the world record of barrel rolls.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think at the time that was filmed, that's like a world record for like most car flips or something.
Yeah,
really astounding. That car flips a lot, so it
hurt me, man, because I love those cars. I was like, oh, like you don't have a gadget to like go sideways.
Yeah, those Aston Martins, like it's always been my dream car. So it's just like seeing one, right? I'm like, how dare you? How dare?
I would have hit her a little bit, like go over her foot, like you're good, like you don't want to flip over that car. I'm like, oh man, no, but yeah, that was an intense scene, and it's a very good, like well put together Bond movie.
It's very smart. It doesn't rely like I said before, it doesn't rely on gadgets, doesn't rely on that fantastical element and like over the top zaniness, over the top take over the world plot like there was in I personally, I know you said you're mixed on Die Another Day. I personally hate Die Another Day. I think it's just a loud, obnoxious movie, but it's fun to watch because it's so stupid and silly.
Well, the only reason I like the movie, it is over the top. I mean, it is. I mean, I think the bad guy is annoying. The guy who plays him, the American one, not the Chinese guy. I thought he was pretty cool when he was Chinese. Once he goes to British, he's annoying. He puts these stupid faces like. I'm like, what is wrong with you, bro?
Time to face destiny.
Yeah, he's like, I was right under your nose, and he's doing this like weird face.
That line, oh my god.
Yeah, like it was so stupid.
I'm getting PTSD.
But yeah, so like the thing I liked about that Bond movie was the fact that I believe, I don't think, maybe you could quote me wrong on this, but I believe this is the first Bond movie that Bond gets caught and tortured in front of everybody. Like you get to see him get tortured straight up, like during the credits of the song.
Yeah, that's the first one where he gets tortured. I love how they integrated that into the theme song itself. It's just that song sucks.
I thought the Madonna song was cute. I mean, it goes with the song, with the movie, so I was like, okay, it's cool. But it did fuse itself into the movie very well. Like he's getting tortured during the song, so I was like, okay.
Yeah. Speaking of torture, we get another torture sequence in this movie, which for any man that's gonna feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's really rough. This is the roughest one I think I've seen out of all 27.
That's actually the scene that I look at as to why Daniel Craig's so good as Bond. He is so good in that sequence. Like he like the whole movie, he's already great, but like that scene alone, he is Oscar worthy. In my opinion.
When he's laughing,
the way he's just bantering back and forth with Le Chiffre, like the expressions on his face, like he's all beat up, like he just looks all grimy and dirty, but yet like he seems like he's enjoying the torture and like just kind of toying with Le Chiffre, like he is so good.
And the funny thing, Le Chiffre slaps him, and he goes, "Come on, bud, tell me the code. I would make this, I would make this less painful." For her, or for you, and I'll let her go. And he's just like, I have an itch. Can you scratch it? And he goes, you're funny, Mr. Bond. And he's whap! And he's like, yes!
I've got a little itch. Down there. Would you mind? To the right! To the right! To the right! You are a funny man, Mr. Bond. Ah! Yeah! Ah! Ah! Yes! 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 Now the whole world's gonna know that you died scratching my balls.
Yeah.
So good. Anytime that happens, I laugh. Daniel Craig, he's an underrated actor in my opinion.
And another character that we missed was Mantis. Mantis was amazing.
Oh yeah, Mantis was good. He's awesome. Yeah, who's Giancarlo Gianni, I think, is the actor that plays him.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah, I know he's a very famous like Italian actor, but I've never seen him in anything else other than this and Quantum of Solace, which he didn't need to come back in. But that's a whole nother story. He's underrated in this movie. He's really good. Like every character in this movie is just great, and like every actor and actress in this movie is great. Like we haven't even touched on Vesper yet. Like I mean, we have a little bit, but like I mean, Vesper is great. Like Eva Green as Vesper.
She's
great.
Beautiful, man.
Like, yeah, she's actually my favorite Bond girl because she's actually the one that's she's pretty, she's beautiful, she is sexy, but she's not just there for eye candy. She actually has a sense of humanity to her. That whole scene where after the fight on the stairway where Bond fights Albano, and he kills them, and she's helping Bond kill them, and like those are the first people she saw killed before her eyes. So what if she goes into the shower in like fully clothed, which I guess in the script, she was either naked or in her underwear, and Daniel Craig argued against that. He's like, she would have no time to like undress. Like she just saw like two people get killed before her eyes, and she's like, I don't know how to.
In shock, basically, she's in shock.
Yeah, she's shocked. Yeah, so like you just like that scene alone just proves how much of humanity this character has, and just how strong of a character she is. I wouldn't even necessarily say that like she's weak because of that. There's gonna be a lot of people that are be like, well, you can't say she's strong if she's sitting in the shower fully clothed, like curled up in a ball. But I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, those are the first people she's ever seen killed before her eyes. So
she was a strong character. I mean, I can't like if people say she's not strong, then they really don't know character development because
exactly. That's why I always say that she is the best Bond girl. She's the definition of a Bond girl. She's the perfect example of a Bond girl. It's the model that future Bond girls have to model themselves after.
Yeah, and the thing that's also that we didn't even hint at was when her and Bond. And this was also my other favorite scenes. I have my Invisalign freaking braces, so it's like hard to.
Yeah, no worries.
So it's like I'm always like sis, like I have the lisp, but. The scene that they're in the bathroom and he goes, I want you to wear this dress because I want all the men to look at you to look pretty. And then he goes and he sees for the first time, he gets his tailored suit. And she goes, I sized you up the minute I saw you. Put that on and you're going to look good. And then you see him putting it on and then he's doing all this. And I'm like, oh, that's Bond. I was like, yeah.
I got to say, I'm a straight man, but he was rocking that tux.
Yes. I was like, you know what? Because if you notice, and I didn't notice this until I saw the 4K, when he's wearing his clothes in the beginning, the suit, it was all saggy. It was not tight fit. Yes, when he meets her for the first time,
I never noticed that.
His suits are not it's not slim fit. It's not tailored. Yes, that's
a really good detail to notice.
Yeah, if you notice when he said it, he goes, "This is tailored." And that's what she said. Yeah. She goes, "Oh, I sized you up." And that's the first time he actually got tailored. Like, tailored down. And I was like, yo, that's pretty cool. Like, not many people, I bet, noticed that. I mean, only me or people like you that know the franchises. But, again, that's, another element of the story that you're like, holy crap. Judi Dench giving him the Aston Martin.
Yep.
In the beginning. And then he goes, "Oh, I love you too, man." And then he put the gun in the what is it, in the vanilla envelope. Yeah.
Oh, the envelope. Yeah.
And then he said, "Oh, can you hold this for me?" And then he gave it to the lady in the front. That was cool. And another character we missed too. The introduction of his best friend, Felix Leiter.
Oh, Felix Leiter. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright, the legendary Jeffrey Wright.
Awesome in the freaking movie.
He's not in the movie all that much, but you know exactly what you need to know about Felix, and right away, you know that right when he shows up, you know he's going to be important.
Yes. And I loved it when Daniel Craig lost and he's all out of it and he's about to kill the chief. And then he grabs him in the staircase. He goes, "Hold on, my brother. I'm bleeding trips." He goes, "I'll stake you. I just want to take him." He goes, "What about the money?" You do what you will."
Funny game, right? Sorry, I should have introduced myself, seeing as we're related. Felix Leiter. A brother from Langley. You should have a little faith. You keep your head about you, I think you have him.
Had. Excuse me.
You're not buying in?
No.
Listen, I'm bleeding chips. I'm not gonna last much longer. You have a better chance, I'll stake you. I'm saying I'll give you the money to keep going. Just one thing. If you pull it off, the CIA bring him in.
And what about the winnings?
Does it look like we need the money?
He's like, you can take the 150 million.
Looks like we need the money. Exactly.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, do we need the money? And he's like, I'll stake you. I'm bleeding.
Like, I'm really looking forward to him coming back in the new one. I think that's gonna be
and you know what's sad, man?
What's that?
What's very sad for me, man, to be honest with you, I wish, and I know I'm not getting this, I wish Daniel Craig was the one to do License to Kill with that Felix Leiter. Them killing him, and he just goes bonkers killing people. Yes, man, because I think with Daniel Craig's acting, he got the I don't give a fuck, like if I got License to Kill or not, you killed his best friend.
Yeah.
And it would have been more dramatized. Like it would have been more like heartfelt because you saw him through Casino Royale all the way up to let's say a brand new version of License to Kill, like whatever, No Time to Die, like whatever that storyline is, but you got to see that. And I'm like, man, it would have been perfect with Daniel Craig and that Felix Leiter just to kill him off, and it would have been perfect. Because you would have felt it. I would have felt it in the theater, like, holy shit, this dude is not coming back from this. Because he lost M. Yeah, I mean, because M grounded him. Like, now you have this new M, which is Ray Fiennes' character, which I love him. He's pretty good. But again, we're not doing those type of bonds right now. But that, I think to me, that would have been a storyline that I would have loved to see with Craig after seeing their relationship in Casino Royale. Like, if you would have said, Alex, what Bond storyline would you want to take from the original and bring it to a reboot state? And I would have said License to Kill would have been the one I would have took, and it would have fit right now. It would have fit so much right now in this day society. You're like, oh man,
very interesting.
And think about it. People would have been watching the trailer going, oh shit, like this guy's off the rails now. Because you could have saw Felix Leiter get killed, right? Like they could have did something like he walks into something and then the doors go black and you hear a gunshot. And then you see like the next scene, Daniel Craig getting the information that he died. And then all of a sudden, all the scenes from there is just him killing everybody, throwing, like going bonkers. And people will go to the theater to see it because you're getting Bond. Yeah, you're getting Bond ruthless. What movie? Actually, I'm going to ask you that. What movie you think? I know you can't take mine, but what movie would you think out of the 27 that Daniel Craig could remake?
Spy Who Loved Me, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I was trying to think. Maybe From Russia with Love. I don't think you could do Goldfinger. Too many gadgets. Doctor No, maybe. I think The Spy Who Loved Me would probably be more up his alley.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah. Like if you just take Roger Moore out of that movie. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with Vesper. Kind of like you have another great Bond girl in Barbara Bach and her character Agent Amosova. I mean, you have that angle with the whole world domination plot, but I think that could work in a Daniel Craig movie, even though they haven't really focused on that aspect yet. I think if done well, it could be pulled off.
It's funny. I think GoldenEye could work because with the new way of shooting, and we got more information on Fort Knox and all that crap. I think it could be done very well, and then you could get a really good actor to play Goldfinger. I mean, I don't know who you could get, but if you could get, you know who could be good? The guy who played Kingpin in Daredevil. What's his name?
Chris D'Onofrio.
Yeah, that guy. I think if you could get him, you could get him to play Goldfinger, like someone very menacing, like a big figure, like how Goldfinger was, like very menacing. I think it could work. I mean, but I still think, License to Kill out of all 27 would be that one movie to like rewrite and work.
I could see that. Yeah. For me, I'd probably go Spy Who Loved Me. I think if you plopped him right into that story, he would fit in seamlessly.
Yeah, I mean, but other than that, look, this movie. I mean, they introduced a lot of characters: Mr. White, M, the Chief, Vesper. I mean, yeah, Felix Leiter.
This was definitely like the rejuvenation that a lot of people thought the franchise needed. Like, I mean, as I said before, like Die Another Day, they got way too fantastical. A lot of people thought it was over the top, an insane plot, insane villain. They definitely knew the producers, Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. They definitely knew what they had to do, which I think was another reason why they didn't bring Brosnan back. Because Pierce Brosnan hated Die Another Day. He even made the suggestion that they have to go back to like the roots and like make Bond more vulnerable and more realistic. So I love that aspect that they did it, and like I think it just breathed a new like sense of fresh air into the franchise. Like you didn't have to rely on gadgets, you didn't have to worry about Moneypenny and Q. You could leave them out for a couple movies. You could just focus on Bond himself and how his inexperience and vulnerability can get him into trouble, but yet he's still cunning enough and he still has that suave charm that will get him out of sticky situations and allow him to complete his mission. That's what I love about Casino Royale. And it's not just a good Bond movie. It's a great action movie in general. Like even if this wasn't a Bond film, this would be a great action movie. It would be it would still be so well written. It would still have a great villain. It would still have a great female character. It would still have all the great action sequences. You just plop Bond out of the movie. It doesn't really make a difference if you put Bond in this movie or if you pull him out. Like it's still a great movie no matter what.
Yeah, and then I mean the thing with the Pierce Brosnan also, if you really look at his 4 movies that he did, the only good ones were the first 2. I mean, you got Tomorrow Never Dies and GoldenEye.
I didn't really like Tomorrow Never Dies.
Really?
I prefer World's Not Enough over Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh man, World's Not Enough is not good. I did not like it. You know what it is? I think Tomorrow Never Dies was at ahead of its time because this is what we're going through now. Which I was like, so I was like, but I mean, hey, maybe again, everyone got their opinion. But like I said, I thought those 2. Yes, I agree with you. Die Another Day is his weakest one. But in terms of the Daniel Craig, I mean, he doesn't look like Bond, and that's the thing that I give him a lot of respect and the producers that he did not look the part. I mean, let's be honest. Pierce Brosnan looked like Bond because he's a good-looking guy.
Exactly. And that was the whole controversy when Craig was cast. They were like, "Is this guy tough enough? Is this guy like too rugged? Like, is he gonna have any sense of charm? Like, who is this guy? Like, he hasn't been in anything." But like, when it really boils down to when they cast Bond, like they usually don't cast a big name. Like, I mean, Pierce Brosnan may have had somewhat of a reputation because of his TV show Remington Steele. But like, I don't think anybody knew who Timothy Dalton was. I don't think anybody really knew who Roger Moore was other than the Saints. I don't think anybody knew who George Lazenby was. Like, I mean, they're not supposed to cast like Leonardo DiCaprio or like Robert Downey Jr. or somebody as Bond. Like, that's not how they operate. Like, the way they operate is they come up with a vision for what they want to do with the franchise next and for what direction they want to go with the next actor. When they cast the actor, they cast him in accordance to what they want to do in that direction. So they wanted to make a more realistic Bond. They wanted to make a more vulnerable Bond. Barbara Broccoli, she's the one who made the decision to cast Daniel Craig. Turns out it worked out well in the end. I mean, I think everybody thought he was only going to stick around for one Bond movie. He's now getting his 5th one. Like, he was here to stay after this movie. I love when he finally gets to utter those infamous words, Bond, James Bond, at the end. Like, just seeing that in the theater just put the biggest smile on my face.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a bittersweet for me. I mean, it's gonna be sad to see him go in this final one.
I honestly might actually tear up just because this was like the first run of Bond films I saw in the theater.
I have a feeling they're killing him off. Something tells me Yeah, because something tells you when you look at that trailer, it's a lot of hints of a lot of dying, and you could see a lot of struggles with him. And I'm like, man, if they do kill Bond off, and I kind of see what they're going with, with what type of storyline they're going with, I don't think a lot of fans of the Bond series is gonna like it.
Nobody's gonna love. No, nobody's gonna love that.
And I'm not talking about the black chick being 007. Like, I don't care for that. I think it's cool they want to do that route. But if they're gonna go with this whole 007 is just a number, that's not what people watch this movie for. People watch it because of Bond as 007. I don't care about 007 the number. I care about the character. If you're gonna kill the character and give off the number 007 to any random person or female, you better think twice, really hard, because the fan base will not support that idea. And I'm not saying that to be, and I'm not sexist or nothing like that, or racist, nothing like that. And I don't care about that stuff. I applaud and I like the way that they're gonna give the first female black chick the 007 title. I love that idea. But you cannot kill the main character and then give that number to someone else and then go, hey, this is your next movie coming out. It's gonna be with this person, because no one's gonna buy it. No one's gonna care. Like, that's not the adventure we want. I don't want that adventure. Like, and that's the thing that I'm very scared about, because from the trailer, him confronting her, I'm like, like, it's gonna be very hard for me to be like, okay, like, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be very rough, and I kind of see where they're going. And if they go down that path, it's gonna be very hard to win that fan base back after that one movie, because I know it's gonna flop. Let's say they do what we think is gonna happen. It's gonna flop. Then they're gonna come out with a new storyline with a new character, and then they're gonna say all the fans are racist and all the. You already know the headlines is gonna be the fan base is this, and that, like the Ghostbusters fan base, and remember that whole female debacle, which it had nothing to do with the females. It had to do with how horrible the movie was and how horrible the script was. Like, I didn't care for the females. I thought the females were great in their roles. Just thought the movie sucked. Like, there's nothing I can do with that. But in terms of Bond, I think they should do is, if they're gonna do Time to Die, they need to figure out a way to just recast Bond. And I always thought the guy from that played what's his name? Edward Stark? Not Edward Stark. Rob Stark, the guy who played the bodyguard.
Oh, Richard Madden.
Yes, perfect. Because he was like that in The Bodyguard. I was like, this dude is 007 in the flesh. He's super young. Lock him to a 5-year picture deal. You're good to go. Now they're going to do this route that they're going to go down. They should just spin it off and do a female version of Bond, which I'm okay with. I would love to see a female assassin, whatever, but I don't know, man. I don't know what you think of it.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, everything's just speculation with the new movie, honestly. I mean, I think no matter what, like, if he dies at the end, they're just going to reboot the franchise again and have just a new actor to play James Bond. I don't think it's going to be like a passing of the mantle to a different actor or actress. I think it's just going to be like, if Bond dies, that's how this run of this era, the Daniel Craig era, ends, and then we'll just reboot it again with another actor. I think that's kind of how it would go, and I think that the fan base would be more accepting of that, and I think more understanding of that, rather than, oh, hey, here's a totally new person you don't know who's now taking over the mantle of the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, even when they showed the trailer and he goes, oh, you're the new 007, and I was like, okay, I kind of see this, I kind of see where they're going with this, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, I like that. This is the first time you get to see the main character lose his title because he retired. So I was like, okay, but why the hell are you bringing him back? I was like, that's the same thing I would have said. Like, why are you bringing me back? But I guess there's a bigger story to it. But look, it's gonna be fun in November, unless they push it back again or it goes to VOD, which I think is gonna go VOD if this virus thing doesn't happen, because they just pushed back that Christopher Nolan movie and Wonder Woman just got pushed back to October.
Which I thought was strange, because they just did they pushed Tenet back by 2 weeks, and now they're playing Inception on Tenet's original date for like its 10-year anniversary, which makes no sense. But I don't know. Yeah, I hope it keeps its November slot. I mean, any other sequences in Casino Royale that stick out to you? Any other characters? Any locations? I mean, we know these are globetrotting adventures.
I love the location in Italy when he was hurt and he's sitting in the wheelchair looking over the ocean. Oh,
it's such beautiful cinematography. Like
yeah.
like the fact that they filmed so many overhead shots of like, I think it's Lake Como in Italy, and like there you just see like mountainsides and like villas, and then the ocean off to the right. It's just like immediately you're just like, I want to go there.
Yeah,
Like
I told my wife. I was like, if I go batshit crazy, ship me to Italy and put me in that hospital. Like I was like, it's awesome.
When you see this on the screen, like that's how great the cinematography is. It makes you dream of places like that. Like it's so well filmed. It's the same cinematographer as GoldenEye. It's the same director. Yeah, so I mean, I would expect it to look as great as GoldenEye, because that's a great looking movie too.
Yes.
Definitely Italy. Montenegro. I think this one might actually have the best locations, honestly. Like Montenegro is really cool. Like I love how that's more small scale. They put like the more small scale yet highest tension feel parts of the movie in the smallest location. The Madagascar chase. I mean, obviously that's iconic. Him going to the Bahamas now, that's nice.
Oh, Atlanta. Atlantis. Yeah. Sorry, not Atlanta.
Yeah, I would love to stay in that ocean view villa that he has. Like, oh my god.
Which you could.
Yeah.
You could. Like, that's the crazy thing.
Money.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the money, I mean, you could stay in his villa. I mean, they shot in location. And the crazy thing is the whole parkour scene of them going over the whole, I believe they were in the Bahamas shooting that too. The whole crane, when they're jumping on the crane.
Yeah, I think that was the Bahamas, and it doubled as Madagascar.
Yeah, I think so, because I remember they said they went back to the original locations of the original films to shoot. So I think you're right. They doubled it as Madagascar / the Bahamas when they doing the running sequences. Which that was pretty awesome when he went to was it Miami when he went to the bodies?
Yeah, that was the Body Works. That place creeped me out because I live in Boston. I'm in New Hampshire right now throughout this whole virus thing. But I live in Boston. They had that exact exhibit at like one of the historical sites in Boston. It just creeped me out. So seeing it in this movie, I was like, that's fucking creepy.
Yeah, and then he puts it under the chip.
Yeah.
I mean, on top of the chip. Put it on top of the chip.
Yeah, I was like, oh, don't touch that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a cool location. Even when they showed her body wrapped up in the hammock, that was a pretty awesome villa off the Atlantis.
The humor in this movie is really underrated when M has them put the tracker in Bond and they shoot him with the tracker gun. Ow.
Yeah.
Laugh at that part. Yeah, there's so much underrated humor in this movie. Like, oh, don't worry, you're not my type. Smart, single.
Yeah. They had good chemistry between M and Daniel Craig in a lot of the scenes.
Definitely, I'm with you on that. Definitely.
Yeah, like they had great chemistry. Even it's funny. Even the casino game room looked amazing.
Yeah.
Like that whole color palette that they had, it was a natural warm feel. So you felt like you're sitting in the seats with them playing. Like that camera angles were very good.
That's what made it great. And another thing I love about the casino sequences too is the cross dissolves to like show that like time has passed. We're in like a different portion of the game. That's very smart as well.
Oh, we didn't talk about one of the best scenes, man. How are we gonna forget about that? When he got drugged.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of the best freaking scenes. When he looked at the martini, he was like, what the fuck? And he was like, take the money.
the first Bond movie where Bond actually literally
got poisoned. Yeah.
Yeah, he dies. He has to be brought back to life. He died. James Bond died. Like, holy shit. Like,
for like 2 seconds. And the crazy thing is like the camera angles was so well done. Like the shaking of the camera is like all distorted, and he's walking all crazy. He hits the car.
It's very like grainy and like definitely something like it's definitely like as if he's like drunk, but he's not really like drunk.
And then you feel like you're poisoned because you're seeing it through his eyes. So you're like, holy shit!
Exactly.
Like he's like, oh,
exactly.
He's opening up the car, and then you see and then I love it how it flip flops to the medical team, and they're like, Bond, you gotta put in the whatever, and then he's like, you gotta shoot it in your neck, and then I'm like, oh my god, don't die on me, man. Well, I was like, you're not gonna die, but I was like, it's a very suspense sequence because I was like, holy crap! And then Eva Green comes and saves the day, and then of course he had the smart ass remark where he sits back.
You okay?
Hey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. That last hand nearly killed me.
I was like, yeah!
Oh yeah. See more of that's how you do puns in a Bond movie. That's like smart right there.
Oh no! Now he said that last hand. That last hand nearly killed me.
Yeah, the last hand nearly killed me. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's when the chief was like, "Oh, this guy came to fucking play."
Oh, I poisoned you.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, okay." Like I'm screwed now because that's when he won the big bucks. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good sequences. Look, I mean, to me, it's the best. I mean, I love Skyfall. I'm not even gonna lie. I love it. It's again, it could be my first, it could be my second. Flip flop. We're not talking about Skyfall. I wish I could talk about Skyfall because I would love to talk about Skyfall. But it's Casino Royale to me out of all 27 Bond movies will be my top 3 of the Bond movies.
Definitely.
Like, all right, so you agree with me? Because I know when I say that, people look at me like, what? No, you got to be crazy. I'm like, oh, you got to think about it. Like, out of all 27 movies, this one got to be on the top 3.
It has to be. Like I said, Skyfall and this one are flip flops. So Skyfall's 1. This is number 2. I don't think it's ever leaving that number 2 spot anytime soon.
No, and for me, the same thing. It's Skyfall 1 or Casino 1. Like, I don't care. It depends on the mood I'm in. Like, I can switch it whenever I want because those two are so good. Now, I mean, if we do like a Bond 27 talk about, like, what would be my next one? Is very hard to pick out of all the other guys because they all had and I said this before in the beginning, one of the beginning of the discussion. All the other guys had different writing and in each of their movies was not a continuing storyline. Only Timothy Dalton had the continuing storyline. Like I think he had the continuing storyline. Timothy Dalton.
Little bit.
Yeah, but other than that, they all had separate movies. Roger Moore did. Sorry, that's the other one. Roger Moore had to continue with Blofeld. Remember when?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so for your eyes only.
Yeah, so he had the continuing storyline. So again, it's kind of hard because Craig is going to beat out all those 27 other films. I mean,
exactly.
Hands down.
I'm with you on that. I think we've captured everything we want to talk about Casino Royale. We dissected this whole thing. We both love the movie, which is great, which is why I'm glad I had it. No, I'm pretty sure you ask anybody just say they love this movie no matter what.
Yeah, I want to apologize. I want to apologize because I kind of feel like I took this Casino Royale and we went to like history of Bond. Like we went. I thought about like Skyfall. I know you're doing that with some other person and all that.
That's perfectly fine. Just watch like some of my other like Bond reviews. Like I usually stick to the movie, but like I'll just go on like a huge like 5-minute tangent about like, oh, like did you know this scene involves this? Like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's totally fine.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I didn't know because I was like, man, I hope he didn't think I hijacked. I just wanted to prove a point with the storylines.
Oh yeah, yeah. As
and the
long as it
character.
wraps back around somehow, it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, but dude, I had a blast talking
Yeah.
Bond. Not many people I sit down and talk about a franchise that I love and stuff. So I kind of
Yeah.
I want to thank you for having me on your show.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, anytime, man. Yeah, you're totally welcome. I'm glad.
Yes, I'm coming back for Skyfall. That's what I'm talking about. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking.
I'm glad we could. I'm glad we could get together finally. I know. I was gonna have you on Die Another Day. I kind of wanted to do my own thing with that.
No, that's cool.
I'm glad we finally got to talk at least one Bond film.
I think both of us could say we would give Casino Royale an A+.
Hopefully more in the future. So just let everybody know where they can find you. I'll also leave your link in the description below as well.
All right, yeah, guys. So if you want to see, I break down 4K reviews. I do Blu-rays, and now we're doing live streams Mondays and Wednesdays, where me and mid-level critic Ken we join forces basically to do live streaming Mondays and Wednesdays. We do media news, we do 4K reviews, and then we do like the main topics that we just talk about a generic thing. But the best part about it is you get to interact with us. So all the shows, you guys can be in the chat. You can talk to us while we're live doing our stuff, and you guys will be recognized and you get to talk. We have point systems. The more you join the show, the more points you accumulate, the more rewards you win. You get digital codes. The higher you get in the levels of geek, you get 4K actual physical copies of 4K, and you get collectibles. It could be pop figures, it could be statues. We don't know yet. The higher you get in points, I mean, we just started it, so you're not going to get to those levels yet, but again, you get point systems through it. Again, yeah, it's Levels of Geek. And we have our website. It's called levelsofgeek.com, where I put all my videos and Ken's videos all in one spot. So whenever we have new videos, it's there. Yeah, so you guys can check it out. I break down all my 4K reviews through decades. So if you want to check out 70s, I have 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, and all the new movies. So I'm doing that with the Blu-rays too. We don't have much of the Blu-rays, but I'm starting to do Blu-rays through my channel, so I can fill up the actual website. So yeah, again, it's levelsofgeek.com. All you have to do is subscribe to Ultra HD Geek if you guys want to join our live sessions Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. So there you go.
Perfect. Yeah, and again, this is the guy to go to if you need recommendations on 4K, whether or not the transfers look good, whether or not they look bad. I definitely look to him as somebody who I can go to in case if I'm thinking about buying a 4K that's like an older movie and I'm like, I need to know if this actually looks good on 4K. So,
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I will leave my link to my website in the description below. You guys are the best. That was Alex. I'm Alex. We're signing off. We'll see you at the movies somewhere.
Catch you later.